Nutrition and sleep. Although myths abound about turkey, carrots, spinach, milk, yogurt, etc., there is no evidence of certain foods improving sleep. What research does make clear is that malnutrition causes a number of sleep disruptions for numerous reasons. So the take-home message is just to eat healthy. Claims of turkey being a sleep aid, by the way, resulted from common reports of sleepiness and naps after Thanksgiving dinner. But research has clearly shown that this is an effect of overeating, not of turkey per se. Overeating increases sleepiness because of increased absorption of bacterial and bacteria products in the bloodstream. As we mentioned before in this class, caffeine can disrupt sleep intentionally, such as when we drink an energy drink to stay alert, or unintentionally, such as when we accidentally drink a caffeinated beverage or chocolate before bedtime. When people are sleep restricted, although caffeine will not restore their alertness and performance to normal levels, 100 milligrams or more can help to increase both. On the other hand, caffeine consumed before bedtime, even several hours before for some people, can disrupt sleep by delaying sleep onset, fragmenting sleep once it is achieved, and as we learned in the first quarter of this class, by reducing M3, deep sleep, significantly. People really vary on their susceptibility to caffeine, by the way. Interestingly, Ising, back in 1980, found that caffeine has lesser effects on extroverts compared to introverts, meaning extroverts can handle more. Regular consumption of caffeine can lead to tolerance when you need more and more for the same effect, and dependence when multiple withdrawal effects are experienced for a few days after terminating this use. The effects of alcohol while awake come in two phases. First, it is initially arousing, followed by sedative effects. The higher the alcohol level in the blood, the higher the sleepiness that results, and this is greatly exaggerated by sleep debt. As an example, 3 drinks are the equivalent of 6 in a person who has had 5 consecutive nights of only 5 hours of sleep. Also, time of nycthymerim makes a difference. Alcohol produces greater sleepiness when it is consumed in the late afternoon, read happy hour time, and or nighttime than it does earlier in the day. Because alcohol causes relaxation and sleepiness, it is widely and unfortunately used as a sleep aid. Yes, it can help knock you out, but just because you are unconscious, this does not mean you're getting quality sleep. Have you ever had too much to drink, go to sleep, then wake up 4 hours later with your eyes wide open? M3s generally increase in the first half of the night. However, the second half is what really plays havoc. REM sleep is reduced in the second half, and instead you often go into N1, which, remember, usually only happens once when you sleep a quality consecutive night. And of course, each time you go into N1 instead of REM sleep, you can easily and often do awaken. This results in disturbed and restless sleep of such poor quality that you might as well be awake. Such light sleep and frequent wakes prevent any quality sleep. But interestingly, the brain that is recovering from alcohol is memory impaired, and thus less likely to recall these frequent awakenings or perceive near awakenings. Thus, people who use alcohol as a sleep aid have a tendency to think that because they were seemingly unconscious all night, it worked. So when they feel highly fatigued the next day, What do you think they're more likely to do that night? Do it again. This is why experts recommend no more than 4 or 5 ounces of wine before bed. That, by the way, is nowhere near 1 glass, at least not how it is typically poured in the United States. Tryptophan is an amino acid prevalent in foods like dairy products, fowl, beans, some nuts, and bananas. Because the brain uses tryptophan to manufacture serotonin, and some research had implicated serotonin while asleep, some people tried to take tryptophan as a sleep aid in the 80s. They suffered serious side effects, likely due to contaminants and unregulated pills. It has since been shown that such a large pill dosage would be needed for any noticeable effect, that it would create more problems than it would solve. In other words, the side effects would be much too harmful. This led some to explore the effects of eating tryptophan-rich foods before bed. But again, the effects, if any, were not significant enough to even be noticeable. So much for tryptophan. Too many herbs to count have been claimed to be sleep aids. The most frequently mentioned are passion flower for temporary insomnia, the aroma of lavender for calming, and valerian or kava for general promotion of sleep. Unfortunately, not many well-conducted studies have been devoted to these and other herbs, and those that have show mixed results and thus are inconclusive. The most studied is valerian, but still its sleep aid status cannot be confirmed. And while some studies have shown some sleep benefits of kava, the risks of liver damage are now known to clearly outweigh any benefits. In our exploration of the sleeping body, we've looked at the effects of sleep on a number of body systems and also health effects on sleep. Hopefully you have found many of these effects to be important and memorable. One take-home message stands out more than any other for me personally, and that is the effects of REM sleep on the autonomic nervous system and cardiovascular and respiratory systems. With this knowledge, it is easy to understand why one portion of sleep is the most strenuous workout that some people get. This concludes our lecture on the sleeping body. Our next lecture will focus on sleep genetics. Just how much of your sleep-wake patterns do you think you inherited? How can parents pass on a trait they do not show themselves? Can sleep disruptive genes be replaced with healthy donor genes? We'll explore these issues and many more in our next lecture.